He's ready. All right, good morning, guys.
Losing James Washington this early in the juncture, how do you, I know you're looking to get certain guys snaps and opportunities. How has that changed how you kind of script out what you want to see in practice here? And do you try to divide those up evenly? Is it whoever rises gets more, or how do you go about it?
It's a great question. Obviously, unfortunate things like this happen during training camp. You have injuries like this. I think certainly every guy is going to probably get a little bit more opportunities, and as it goes, certain guys get more and more opportunities as this thing continues to progress. And so I think that's usually the flow to training camp. We got a lot of guys that we liked when they came into this place, and I think they got great opportunities to take advantage of this situation right now.
John Machota, The Athletic. What have you seen from Jalen Tolbert? I mean, we noticed that he's been moving around a lot, but what has stood out to you about him early on?
I think his work ethic, how smart he is, how he can handle, an NFL offense and just be able to play in a versatile role. We're asking a lot out of him as far as line up in different places to allow us to be versatile with our other guys out there. And so I think that's huge, and especially as you progress into a season, to have those type of guys that can play a lot of spots, that'll give him more and more opportunities.
Dallas Morning News. Can you speed up the learning curve for some of these guys because you're going to have to rely on them a little bit sooner than what you want?
There's certainly guys that are hopping in there at the ones that, rookies that, hey, get ready to roll. And so, whether it's Jalen, the tight ends with those guys, Jake and those guys, there's a number of guys. And so we're going to get them in there, get them ready to go, and see what they got.
Scruggs, ABC5. Your thoughts on Turpin, what you've seen, how would you like to use him offensively?
Was really excited when we got a chance to watch him play in the USFL. I thought he played an awesome role there. He made some big-time plays, and so when we were able to watch that stuff from Will, I thought it was really fun to see, and you can definitely see a role that he can play in the NFL. He'll be a versatile guy. He's one of those guys who's obviously got some special returning traits as far as a returner, but we'll be able to find him a role on the offensive side just to use him in space, get him the ball, obviously. Things that he did really, really well in the USFL and certainly at TCU as well.
Skyler Dixon with the AP. There's been a lot of talk about CD rising to that number one receiver role. Statistically, you haven't really had that in your time as the play caller. I just kind of wondered your philosophy on a dominant number one guy statistically and whether that's a requirement to kind of be as good as you want to be.
I think there's a lot of different ways to play it. Certainly I don't think it's a shock that he's probably going to get a lot of targets as we go here. And so I think he's a really, really just coming into his own right now. This is his third year, really taking ownership of it, playing all over the field, and I think he's going to have a great opportunity here. There's times where you have depth in certain positions, and you're able to play guys a little bit more stationary maybe and have multiple guys who can be number ones. And as we go, other guys are going to rise to occasions to take those opportunities as well, but CD is ready.
Christy Scales, Cowboys Radio. What have you seen early from Dennis Houston? And at Western Illinois, did they move him around a lot, or is his versatility something that is stepping out for you?
No, certainly Dennis at Western Illinois, he certainly played a lot of different positions there. He was able to move around the field, but he's come in and just really impressed us with just his work ethic. He's really, really detailed and really, really specific, and I think it's awesome when he takes those things you teach in the meetings and he applies them immediately. I think that's a huge comfort level for quarterbacks when a guy is going to take that lesson and apply it rather quickly. And so he's earned some more opportunities, certainly with James's absence. Some other guys are going to get opportunities. He had kind of been playing that role as the X receiver a little bit early in camp, and so it was a natural for him to get more opportunities.
Mike Ducey from Fox 4. What's the challenge in getting Zeke and Pollard both involved in ways that make them the most effective and your offense most effective?
We certainly want those guys to get touches, and I think it's a matter of finding those different roles. I think both of them we want to get creative with, get them on the field at the same time, and then obviously, when one guy's down, the other guy's in there contributing. And so I think it'll be a fun task for us just to kind of pair those guys up, be creative with how we can utilize those guys, put them in different positions, and find their opportunities for success.
Tim Belishaw, Pigskin Panel, The Ticket. Follow up Mike's question. For those of us who thought Tony should have got more touches last year, what were we wrong about there? And B, for that to happen this year, is that something that just has to play out, or rather than be planned?
No, I think it's definitely fair. He's the guy that we want to get the ball to. He's had a ton of success with when he does get those opportunities, and so I think the running back role is one thing. Certainly when Zeke and him can kind of tag team that role, but then it's another opportunity for him to expand that role and play in some different positions out in space and some of the things that certainly he's capable of doing. I think the more we expand those roles, I think the more opportunities he'll be able to get out there and get touches.
Greg Simmons, based at San Antonio. Terrence Steele, talk about his involvement, if you will, and not just in blocking for pass protection, but also more along the lines of helping the running game progress.
Terrence is a really physical guy. I think that definitely jumps out to you. He comes off the ball. He's got to be one of the most quick, sudden guys off the ball. He's our example so many times on the offensive line of guys just coming off the ball and creating contact. And so, he certainly helps us on that right side with him and Zach. A lot of times they're in double teams. They can really get a great push on the backside or on the front side of runs. And so he's an important piece of this, and I think it's been awesome for him just to kind of have a home base this offseason, play that right tackle position, and really take ownership of it.
Michael Coleman, KLTV, East Texas. Can you all afford to be patient with the young receivers?
Yeah, I think certainly we liked them coming in. I think we're excited to have those guys to give them opportunities. I think we're in a great spot right now to give those guys more and more chances as it progresses. I think those guys will take advantage of it. And obviously, an NFL season's a long one. We'll see how it all plays out, and we'll be ready to roll.
Guard rotation with Tyler and Govern right now.
Yeah. Tyler and Connor are both getting in there at left guard. I think it's good for those guys to have a little bit of a home base. Just keep rotating in there. We'll get those guys a couple other reps, whether it's a tackle, whether it's guard, fullback, whatever those different roles are that are kind of their secondary roles. But we want them to really focus on that left guard spot, compete, play it out, and we'll be in a great situation once it all plays out.
Kayla Burton, the NFL Network. Just curious, when you've seen CD from year one going into year three, what do you think sticks out to you most in terms of his leadership? Obviously, his numbers speak for itself, but both in this situation with Washington.
Yeah, I think from a leadership standpoint, he's kind of the old guy, and it's crazy. It's third year, but with Noah in there and a lot of younger guys, he really takes ownership of that group. I think he does a phenomenal job with it, and I think he's just got such a good command of the offense now. He can line up all over the field. He's doing a lot of different things, and him and Dak working together, it looks really, really special.
Kellen, Todd Archer of the ESPN. With Tony Pollard, how do you work on his route tree and doing more than just what running backs do? Or is that something you wouldn't do?
No, it's certainly something we've been emphasizing with Tony. I think he did a healthy dose of it during OTAs. We had a few receivers kind of down, and so it worked out perfect. He was able to do a bunch of receiver stuff, and those are different roles that those guys will continue to emphasize and utilize. I think he has a very firm foundation as far as playing running back. We feel really good about that, so we were able to expand that through OTAs, and we'll get to as we go into the season, we'll kind of find where that balancing act is for him.
Time at Memphis, where he lined up wide a lot.
Yeah, certainly at Memphis. I mean, really, that was his primary position, was slot receiver, and he'd go into the backfield. That was kind of his secondary role. And so there's a ton of it on film. A lot of it's kind of coming back to him. I think he does have more than just that. He's not going to run just the running back route tree, the quick game, and just kind of the completion plays. He can stretch people vertically, and I think that'll be a huge advantage for him just to put people in conflict of how they want to handle him.
Clarence Hill, 4-Star Telegram. With Tony, is there a balancing act on you want to get him more touches, but here's a guy who's never character low and had like 20 touches in back-to-back games before, because you still want to get to maximize his juice and his legs. You find yourself trying to maximize a balance, getting him the ball more, but also not wearing him down.
I think there's certainly a balance of how much you utilize him as far as just workload. I think there is a balancing act of that. You don't want him to play slot receiver and run, 50-yard routes all day and then ask him to go play running back, after 5-6 of those. And so I think there's definitely a balancing act of that. Again, we just want to utilize him the best way we can. I think that's part of the testing during training camp, is to test him out there in space, test him in the backfield, his workload, how many reps we throw him in a particular period, and just kind of keep playing with that, and we'll find where his role is best situated.
Kellen, having done this for several years now, and you You do the cell scout in the off season. You're always following other teams and plays. Coming into this year, do you have like a percentage you feel you want to change the offense or give different looks compared to just getting better at some of the things you do in order to throw other defenses off balance? I mean, just in general, what's your philosophy on how you break that up going into this year?
No, I think you go through the same process as far as you evaluate yourself first, things you did well, things you want to improve on, acknowledge that. Then you obviously go through a little bit of the roster transition. You know, obviously we had a few of those changes, so you got to see who you are as a team, and then obviously from that standpoint, hey, look around the league, see where the trends are going, and then from there, kind of build what this 2022 offense we want it to look like. And so, you know, there'll be some tweaks like always. There'll be little adjustments, playing with the different personnel, and then we'll kind of go from there.
Kellen, Jory Epson with USA Today. Last year you talked a lot about pick your poison. We have all these receivers. Do you expect CD to be a featured receiver in a way that none of your guys were last year because of the options you have, and what would that look like?
I think naturally, obviously, you know, he's a really, really talented receiver. I think naturally he's going to get a lot of targets. We got to utilize him, put him in different positions. I think that stuff will naturally play itself out. I don't think that's much of a hidden thing. But our other guys, I think, will have great opportunities to rise to the occasion. And as those opportunities rise for those guys, it'll allow them to play in some different positions as well. And so CD's ready. He's ready to, you know, take whatever he needs. And so, you know, we'll certainly utilize it that way.
Just to follow up on that, did you feel like your ball distribution was what you wanted it to be last year? Obviously, an initial target on a play might not be where the play ends up going, but when you look back at the season, what did you think?
There's always little things that you want to improve on, I think, certainly from a ball distribution. I don't think you ever want to throw it in the QB's head. You know, I think by, you know, telling him to throw it to a certain guy, I think naturally the way you structure it, give certain guys targets, certain guys opportunities based off being the primary receiver or maybe a secondary receiver. And so that's something you learn, you grow with, and certainly this year I think we're in a really good place for that.
David Hellman, Fox Sports. Totally subjective on my part. Correct me if I'm wrong, but just specifically watching Dak, it seems like a lot of his completions in practice are 10 to 20 yards from the line of scrimmage, not anything super aggressive downfield. I'm just curious, do y'all put an emphasis on focusing on high percentage plays in practice and worry about the low percentage stuff later?
I think it's kind of install football. You kind of go through 10 days of this thing, and so certain days are going to emphasize different elements. And, you know, there's going to be completions right now, you know, probably the way we've installed it right now, a little bit more focused on getting these completions, getting the timing down of those things. Sometimes go balls, post routes are a little bit more of a one-on-one, you know, timing component of it, but he's doing a great job. You know, I think he's done a really nice job. Okay.
This again, there's so much talk about Tony in his increased role. Talk about Zeke. Is he still a guy that can carry the load? Do you see the juice back in his legs?
Yeah, no question. I don't think the Tony thing has anything to do with the Zeke, you know, component of it. I think we are really excited about Zeke. Give him what he needs, and what we can take advantage of with Zeke, and then Tony's going to be an awesome piece. You know, we lost a couple receivers that allows us to utilize Tony in that role a little bit more, and then, you know, in the backfield he'll be able to emphasize that spot when Zeke's not on the field. And so fired up. We got two really good ones.